Hello, Rana. Welcome into our lesson today. My name is Mr. Moniki from Anesta High School, and I want to talk about biology today. And our topic of study today is cell physiology. Cell physiology. So, in this lesson, welcome on board. I hope you will understand the lesson. It is a very good lesson and also a simple lesson. So the first thing we will do today is to define what is cell physiology. So it is basically the study of the functions of the cell structures. It is the study of the functions of the cell structures. Basically, learn what this means. It is basically involved with the processes that include the movement of substances in and out of the cell. It includes how substances move in and out of what? The cell. So I will begin by talking about what is a membrane and what are the properties of a membrane. A membrane is a surface structure which encloses the cell and the organelles. Encloses the cell and what? The organelles. So look at this. We may have a cell, an animal cell, It may have a membrane that surrounds it, which is called the cell membrane. Cell membrane. Cell membrane. It has a nucleus inside. This is the cytoplasm inside here with other organelles. Look, you may have a plant cell. A plant cell. This plant cell, we have what is called a vacuole inside. And this vacuole is always surrounded by what? A membrane. This membrane is called tonoplast. Tonoplast. And this is called what? Vacuole. The vacuole. This is the cell wall. Remember, animals do not have a what? A cell wall. But plants have a rigid cellulose cell wall. And this rigid cellulose cell wall is the one that gives this plant cell a definite shape. It gives the plant cell a definite shape. So you need to understand that. So again, Lana, we have said that the cell membrane can be around the cell. And also we have the tonoplast, which is surrounding the cell vacuole. We also have the nuclear membrane. This nucleus here, this is the nucleus. It is just inside the cell. However, it is surrounded by a membrane, which is referred to as a nuclear membrane. We also have the chloroplast. The chloroplast. It is one of the organelles. We even have another one here, which is called mitochondrial. Mitochondrial membrane. Mitochondrial membrane. So, different organelles will be surrounded by what? A membrane. So, depending on the type of organelle, then you have the membrane surrounding that organelle. Now, dear learner, today we will look at the cell membrane. A very important type of a membrane. Look at this now. We have the cell membrane here, and this is how it looks like. Lana, this is how the cell membrane looks like. It is made up of 3 layers. Again, the cell membrane is made up of how many layers? 3. 2 protein layers. 1, 2. How many layers? 2 protein layers. And another phospholipid layer sandwiched between the two. So this is a layer of lipid. And it is in between the 2 protein layers. So the cell membrane is made up of 2 protein layers sandwiched between 2 protein layers. And we have a pore here. We have a pore here. So properties of the cell membrane. Properties of the cell membrane. The first property of the cell membrane is called semi-permeability. What is the meaning of semi-permeability? It means, semi-permeability means it allows some materials to enter and prevent others. Allows some materials to enter and prevent others. Prevent others. That is what is called semi-permeability. Remember, remember this, that a cell wall like this one, it allows molecules of large size and small size. It has large pores. It has large pores. But these pores here, they are tiny pores. So what does it mean? It allows substances of small molecules. Small molecule sizes are the ones that can pass through what? The cell membrane. However, the cell wall is said to be permeable. The cell wall is said to be what? Permeable. What does it mean? It allows molecules of large size and small size to enter. Now, there is another property of the cell membrane. And we always say it is sensitive to changes in temperature and pH. Why do we say this? Look at this learner. Look at this learner. That my demonstration here, we have two protein layers. And some of the properties of proteins is that they are denatured by extreme temperature. Proteins are denatured by extreme temperature. The key word is denatured. So we don't say killed, we say denatured. They are destroyed, denatured. So the two protein layers, they cause the cell membrane to be sensitive. So when the temperatures go beyond normal, then the protein layers are interfered with. And also, proteins are sensitive to pH. So too low pH or too high pH, they interfere with the working of the protein layers, which also interfere with the pore sizes, which interfere with the movement of substances in and out of the cell. In and out of the cell. So we say here, it is because they are protein in nature. They are protein in nature. That is why they are sensitive. That is why they are sensitive. Number 3 property is they possess electric charges. In another lesson, you will realize that there are some charges around here. So we can have positive charges, positive, 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 negative, 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 negative. So these charges, they cause this membrane to be polarized. We talk about polarization. It is polarized. So the possession of electric charges, it helps number one to detect. It helps to detect changes. Helps to detect changes in environment. In environment. In environment. So if there is pain, that is a change in environment. If there is heat or a lot of cold, what will help you to detect? It is the charges. And also, it helps to do what? In the movement of substances in and out. Movement of substances in and out. Movement of substances in and out of the cell. So that is very, very important. That is very important learning. That is very important learning. So today, we also look at what is called physiological processes. Physiological processes. Physiological processes. Physiological processes. There are 3 main physiological processes. When you are asked an exam, name 3 physiological processes. You will name the following. Number 1, you will name diffusion. Number 2, osmosis. Number 3, active transport. Those are the 3 main physiological processes. We will start with what? Diffusion. 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 What is diffusion? Rana, you need to understand what is diffusion. Diffusion is the process by which by which the process by which particles move from a region of high concentration, by which particles move from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. To a region of low So I will have a demonstration to show diffusion. And what will I use here? I will use potassium permanganate. Number one, potassium permanganate. Number two, I will have water in a beaker. So I want to demonstrate to you how you can show that diffusion has taken place. So Lana, this is what we will do. So Lana, we will do this. We will take a spatula full. We will take a spatula full of potassium permanganate. This, and then we can put it in the boiling tube. That is potassium permanganate. Usually, it is purple in color. So what are we demonstrating here? That the purple color, I have some clean water here. So what will happen is that the color of potassium permanganate, when I mix this potassium permanganate with water, again, when I mix the potassium permanganate with water, the purple color of potassium permanganate, that means the particles of potassium permanganate will spread throughout the water. So what does that mean? The particles are highly concentrated here. They will move from where they are more to where they are less. That means they are less here and they are more here. So these particles will spread throughout the water to demonstrate that indeed diffusion has taken place. Remember, it is the process by which particles move from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. So let me show you. I can decide to put them here in the beaker, and then I can decide to pour water. You can see I'm demonstrating diffusion. Here you are, the potassium permanganate, clean water, and then I will pour my water inside the potassium permanganate. Look at that, Lana. The water was clear, but now the color has changed to what? Purple color. How did this water change? The particles moved from where they were more inside the potassium permanganate and they spread all through into the water. The water has now turned into what? Purple. This shows for that indeed diffusion has taken place. Diffusion has taken place. Now, my dear learner, I want to continue and talk about the factors that affect diffusion. Again, the factors that affect diffusion. Very fast. Factors that affect diffusion. Factors that affect diffusion. Factors that affect diffusion. What are these factors? Factors that affect diffusion. I will go and list them and then we shall explain. Factors affecting diffusion. Factors affecting diffusion. One, runner. We have number one, diffusion gradient. Diffusion gradient. Diffusion gradient. Number two, we have surface area. Surface area. Two, volume ratio. Number three, we have thickness of the membrane. Thickness of the tissues. Number 4, we have size of the molecules. Size of the molecules. Number 5, we have temperature. So, learner, these are the five factors that usually affect. These are the 5 factors that affect the rate of diffusion. So, diffusion gradient is what? It is the difference between two concentrations. So, suppose you have high concentration of particles, for example, smell, for example, potassium permanganate, and here we have low concentration. So this is what is called what? Diffusion gradient. Diffusion gradient. The greater the gradient, the faster the rate of diffusion. If it is so high here, too high, and here too low, we say that the diffusion gradient is high, and so the diffusion will take place more. The other one is temperature. Temperature increases what? The momentum of the particles. Temperature increases the momentum of the particles, therefore they move faster. They move faster. That means what? The rate of diffusion increases. The rate of diffusion increases. Number 3, the size of the molecule. The smaller the size, for example, dust particles are larger in size than smell particles. So you will find that smell will spread faster. For example, the smell of the aroma of food from the kitchen will smell faster. Or if ammonia is released from a corner, it will move very fast, and someone at the end of the laboratory will smell ammonia very fast. That means that it has spread because it has small particles. The smaller the size, the faster diffusion. The other one is the thickness of the membrane. If the membrane is thick, then the rate of diffusion will reduce. The rate of diffusion will do what? Reduce. But if the membrane is thin, then diffusion will be faster. And finally, we have surface area to volume ratio. So I will demonstrate here. Lana. I will demonstrate about surface area to volume ratio. Surface area to volume ratio. So this is the relationship between what? Surface area and volume. The relationship between surface area and what? Volume. So as you can see, we have some objects here, 5 objects. The surface area and the volume, and then surface area to volume ratio, the ratio. So if you can see the surface area here, 1 by 1 multiplied by how many faces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get 6 centimeter square. What about the volume? Length times width times height. That means 1, 1, 1, which is 1 centimeter cube. What is the ratio? 6 into 1. 6 into 1. I've done for you this one. Look at this ladder. 12 times 12. That is 1 face. And then multiply by how many faces? 6 faces. So you get what? 864. But what about the volume? Volume is length times width times height. And what does this mean? It is 12 times 12 times 12. You get 1728. What is the ratio? 864 multiplied by 2, you get 1720. So the ratio is 1 is to 2. What about this one? The ratio is 6 into 1. So as you can see, the smaller the object, the higher the surface area to volume ratio. And the larger the object, the smaller surface area to volume ratio. Now, the organisms with larger surface area to volume ratio, diffusion is faster. Diffusion is faster. So we always say, the smaller the organism, the larger the surface area to volume ratio, and so the faster the rate of diffusion. Again, the larger the organism, the smaller the surface area to volume ratio, and the slower the rate of diffusion. So, Lana, I've given you this other one for you to try. For example, here, we want to do surface area is 2 by 2, that is 4. 4 multiplied by 6 is what? 4 multiplied by 6 is what? 24. 24. What about volume? 2 times 2 times 2. That is what? 4 times 2, which is 8. Which is 8. So if you want to find substitute volume ratio, it is 24 to 8. When you simplify, it becomes group is to 1. It is smaller than this. So you can fill all the others and find the volume, surface area to volume ratio. Now, in conclusion, I want to talk about what? The law of diffusion. The law of diffusion. The law of diffusion. There are four main laws. Number one, absorption of materials. Absorption of materials. The law of diffusion. Law of diffusion. Number one is absorption of materials. Number two law is gaseous exchange. Gaseous exchange. Number three, excretion of waste. Excretion of waste. Number four, translocation. So those are the main roles of diffusion. So materials are absorbed. For example, ions. Mineral ions are absorbed from the soil up to the roots at the stem by what? Diffusion. The other one is gaseous exchange in plants and animals. So, for example, when you breathe in oxygen, it enters into the lungs by diffusion, into the alveolus by diffusion, and then carbon dioxide comes out of the lungs by diffusion. Also in plants, they take in carbon dioxide, they give out oxygen by the process of what? Diffusion. Excretion of waste. So this excretion of waste, nitrogenous waste from the body, usually in solid form, in ion form, they move out by the means of what? Diffusion. And then manufactured food. When manufactured food from the leaves are manufactured, how do they move from the leaves out to the other lower parts of the leaves? They use the process of what? Diffusion. So Lana, basically that is the process of diffusion. I will leave you with this question, Lana. State the similarity and differences between a cell membrane and a viscous tubing. Again, state the similarities and the differences between a cell membrane and a viscous tubing. So, this basically is what we have talked about today. Again, our topic was about what? Cell physiology. We have talked about the cell membrane. We have also talked about what? The factors that affect cell division. We have also talked about the entire factors, and we have described the surface area to volume ratio, and we have finalized by talking about how is diffusion important. It helps in what? Absorption of materials. Helps in what? Gaseous exchange. Helps in what? Excretion of waste products, and also in translocation. This is the movement of manufactured food from the leaves to the other parts of the plant. And also remember, we have demonstrated a practical here by use of what? Potassium permanganate. And when you add water, the purple color of potassium permanganate will spread and the whole water becomes what? Purple. Then that we have said that because of that, then we can conclude and say that indeed that it has taken place. Diffusion has taken place. Until next time, Lana, may you keep safe, be obedient to your parents, be humble, do your work, do not go about roaming aimlessly, and may God bless you. Keep studying, keep safe, wash your hands, observe hygiene. God bless you.